Yeah, so happy to have Rose Betts on the podcast today. Again, thank you for taking time. And how have things been for you?
Things have been good. Yeah, post album, it's been like a nice sort of freedom to just sort of not promote all the time and just enjoy the songs that are out and sort of
Yeah.
engage with people discovering it. It's really nice.
Yeah. So I think maybe the best place to start, and probably the place you start all the time when doing these, is like talk about where you kind of grew up and the music maybe that played in your house and the music that you kind of listened to as a kid.
I grew up in, I was born in London and I grew up in Hertfordshire, which is a county just about half an hour out of London. I had a very sort of, in terms of pop music, quite a sheltered upbringing. We listened to a lot of classical music and we sang a lot as a family, which was I'm very fortunate because I feel like music was so natural and so part of life that it's never felt like something unusual to do. And I was lucky enough to sort of inadvertently absorb loads of Celtic and sort of old English songs, and yeah, there was a lot of Irish music, and but most of it was like played. It was actually happening in the space. So
Yeah.
that's yeah, yeah, that's kind of the beginning.
So are you based in London still? Because
No, I'm in Los Angeles.
oh, amazing. So I had visited England. I have family in Saffron Walden. I'm not sure if you're familiar with the area at
No,
all.
do you know where it is? Like, do you
Uh,
know
it
where?
it's maybe 2 hours north of London.
Okay, cool.
Really small town. I mean, I was there as a kid. We took like a train into London one day. It was like a 2 hour train ride, I think. But
Okay.
yeah, so I've experienced it, as a kid in London, and recently spent a couple days over there as well. But how do you, how are the differences between London life or English life and LA life?
Oh, huge. I mean, I just FaceTimed with my parents and it's like spring is happening in their garden and it's
Mm,
just like so
yeah,
lush and so green and the birds are cheap. Like in LA, I mean, I know that there are places in America which are lush, but LA, it's a very different, it's very dry, it's very sunny. There's no seasons. That's a huge difference. I really, really miss that. And I also, there are Englishisms that you can't, like, if you've been in England long enough, I'll never get over like needing that kind of dry sense of humor and people that are able to laugh at themselves quite easily. We generally kick ourselves around town. We're generally very. I think sometimes the way that I talk about myself over here, some people look at me and go like, "Are you okay? Like, do you need therapy?" And it's like, "No, no, this is just how we talk in England."
I think, yeah, we kind of, luckily where I'm at, we're going through that kind of spring life.
Ah,
Having
it's lucky.
visited out to LA, and like, I don't know if I could do the great weather all year round. I kind of need like rainy days to feel like a person sometimes. It's kind of odd. I
Yeah,
don't know if you feel that way, not
totally,
having them for some time, right?
totally.
So So for people who are just kind of getting into your music, they would probably find you as like this folk singer, but I think kind of your first album was more pop influence. Is that correct? And why the
Yeah,
change into like this? I don't want to call it Celtic folk, but like folk style sound.
yeah, I think that's fair. I think that so like the music that I sort of went in like entered into my teens when I had access to like CDs and MP3 players and stuff. It was very like I guess it was like Keen. I don't know if you know the English band Keen, but like sort of I always liked I like popular songs. I like a really lovely melody, and I think I was really interested in those were the kind of demos I was making, and the album is very reflective of the stuff that I was interested in. And I think that the Celtic stuff has always been there in some way, and I kind of held it at arm's length. A lot of people would say, "Oh, your music sounds really Celtic," or "Your voice sounds very Celtic," when I would just play something live or something, and I felt very reticent about just bringing Celtic in as some kind of gimmick. I felt like it had to come from a space where I was
Uh,
actually connected to it, and I wanted to explore. I wanted to explore that side to me. It's interesting coming over to America. I guess you start to, when you're not in your homeland, you start to appreciate your roots more and have a sense of that stuff. So that kind of that got awakened in me, and then I just felt like, oh, it'd be really like I'd had this moment with Irish Eyes, which had kind of come out of nowhere, and people were really connecting to that side to me. And I thought, well, why not explore that? I think I'm finally ready to. and then it was just lovely. It was like as soon as I'd sort of come to that in terms of like the sound and the kind of songs I wanted to write, it just all kind of fell into place really.
Yeah, yeah. So your new album, it's out a couple months, entitled "There Is No Ship." So I kind of like in prep for this, I kind of know a little bit of the story as to the name of the album, but
Oh,
being
cool.
a little bit of a nerd to Lord of the Rings, I'm very interested on just
Are
the
you?
story. Yeah, a little bit. So I'd
Love.
love to hear just the story of behind it.
Yeah, I mean, you might be a bigger nerd than I am. I'm not sure, but I always really I actually first watched the films, but I watched those before I read the books. But so that line isn't in the books, I don't think. But there's a moment where Arwen says that about her, the fact that she can't leave, which you'll know because you know them.
Right.
But and for me, I don't know, I always really loved that line, and even before I sort of attached my own meaning to it, and I think that. I just love the idea that you can that even if it's just your heart or even if it's just your soul, maybe you can even be physically removed from a place. You can maybe leave your homeland and start a new life somewhere else. There will always be a part of you that can never be taken from it. It will never. There are some ties and some bonds that can't be broken. And I kind of, for me,
Yeah.
that's what that line felt like, and that's why it worked for me as a song and also just as a kind of umbrella for the rest of the album because I feel like that's what I've come to is as much as there are so many great things have happened out here and in my new sort of my new adventure, it just feels like England and everything that place is and that what it means to have a homeland in that way of just the earth and the smells and the colors. It just that stuff I can never find that elsewhere. It only belongs there. So that's kind of and I just think it's a beautiful line. It's sort of magical and romantic, and obviously she's talking about a man, but there's something so definite about it. It's something so it's kind of tragic at the same time as beautiful.
Yeah. Yeah, I think, I mean, in terms of like the movies themselves too, like I had always like romanticized them as a kid, and I don't know why. It just like happened that way, and still
Interesting.
kind of hold it very much to very dear to my heart in that sense. So hearing that that's where that line kind of like where the title came from, I loved it. And so
Oh,
you know,
cool.
the album's out 2 months, and you know how. I guess beyond its name, and you want to talk about maybe just the initial conception of it and some of the stories behind some of the songs, maybe?
Yeah, I mean they're all very much inspired by Homeland and by, I mean there was I kind of wanted to write a song. I had some intentions. I wanted to write a sort of song that felt like it belonged in a pub and might be a drinking song, and that's how Doodles came about. Um, and then I wanted to write a song that felt like it was about aging, and that's how my song "Save Me a Seat" came about. So there were a couple that were very intentional, but what I did was I would drive out of LA towards the hills, like the mountains out here, which is like an area called San Bernardino, and it's you go up and up and up, and you're kind of like there's actually it's called the Crest of the World. There's like a road that's called the Crest of the World, and there's a place called the Valley of Enchantment, which is actually where I started. I just rented out this little cabin and started writing, and there was something about sort of sitting in no man's land, like not being in LA where I live and not being in England, and just sort of just letting the sort of 3 years that I've lived here sort of just come out, I guess. And um, yeah, that was kind of kind of just opened myself up to it. There were a few songs that I felt um, that I had like a intention for, but a lot of them, like there's like one song, my song "Running," that pretty much just came to me out of nowhere when I was just on a walk, like just
Yeah.
a random idea. So it's always a mix with songwriting. It's always I find I don't talk to that many songwriters about it, and I know that people often ask like, is it lyrics first or like what's the order of thing? And it
Yeah.
really is different for every song, and it was the same for the album.
Yeah, I think so. Having listened through the album, my favorite song, Aldridge Creek, and I don't know what
Oh, you
about
like
that
Eldritch
song.
Creek?
Yeah, I loved it.
Love
Yeah,
that.
yeah. I don't know what it is about it, but it you know, very romantic, very I don't know. I think maybe it speaks to like the more you talk about the title of the album, I think it speaks to that in a little way.
Hmm.
Um, so does personal experience inform most of your writing, or is it kind of you pull from elsewhere sometimes as well?
I feel no, yeah, it definitely does. I think that sometimes a song will be very specifically personal. I'll be trying to say something very straight and direct. And sometimes like Aldrich Creek is I love that you like I really love that song. And that was sort of a written, like are we going to Scarborough Fair? Like that song, it's kind of like, those, there are these sort of Celtic songs which are about not doomed lovers, but these sorts of stories of encounters and romances and affairs. And I don't know, I kind of wanted a song that was about this sort of world. But of course, at the center of it, for it to feel, I think for a song to feel authentic, you have to use a kernel of some of your own personal truth. And so there are definitely, like, I've definitely experienced days that felt like time slowed down with people that I loved, and it kind of, they just had like a more golden tint to them. And it's like taking the feeling of those days and then I guess romanticizing some elements of it. But at the center of it, there is definitely a personal connection to the theme. And
Yeah.
I always feel like songs always need like, they need like an honest root. Even if it isn't like the most defining thing about that song, it's like if there's something for the song to be tied to, then it feels like it has more weight. I don't know. It's hard to explain.
Yeah. Yeah, it's almost like, I mean, obviously I've never written any songs in my life, but I feel like you take, because life can be, a little mundane at times. You take that little root and kind of world build around it.
Yeah,
And it
exactly.
feels like that's, kind of take a little bit of liberty with it, but it still kind of feels personal to you. And I think that is what people kind of end up connecting with in their own way. Um, so when you go to record, nowadays it feels like simple production is the way to be. Are you more meticulous about like the way you go about producing it, or are you like a one take, send it off, we're good to go kind of person?
Oh, vocally, I am not. I am very meticulous about my vocals. Um,
Yeah.
I don't ever use auto tune, which means that sometimes, uh, which is an interesting one because it's actually, I don't actually judge people who do. It's just a personal choice of mine that I want to be better singer so that I'm better singer live. So like, I might do like 5 takes and then I'll select. I'll go through and they call it comping, but I'll go and I'll choose. So it's that side to things I'm very controlling about, and I always do my own vocals and I always do my own comping, and I control everything that has to do with any vocals. I don't collaborate on that, but I do collaborate on the production itself. I think that I went over to Nashville and I worked with a producer called Mark Siegel on predominantly like on the beginnings of all the songs and the full, like there was some tying up that we did over here with some producers out here, but essentially it's mine and Mark's collaboration in the room. And it's great fun. I mean, he's very musical. He's got loads of instruments. Nashville is a very musical place to be, so we kind of
Yep.
tried a lot. Then I had to strip away a fair bit. It's very easy to get carried away with like layers, and I think that Aldrich Creek is one of the more fuller of the songs. I like there's tree frogs in there. I mean, but I
Yeah.
think it could bear it because the song is so romantic. But some songs need to be like simplified. And I think I don't know when it comes to some elements of the production, I'm not too anal. I think that like if the feeling is there, then that's the most important thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, the voice is the only thing that I'm particularly specific about.
Yeah. Is songwriting, so I talk to a lot of people and I feel like songwriting is this collaborative process. Is this something you just do on your own mostly, or because I know especially in Nashville, like it's a very collaborative process.
True.
Do you find yourself just wanting to do it by yourself, or kind of hope to one day maybe work with a bunch of
I
people?
do it. Well, lately I've been thinking about writing with other people. The whole album was written alone, and all my work is generally written alone. And I bring the song to the producer in like a. I mean, my first album, the songs were pretty produced out with like my ideas. This time I was intentional in just keeping it to like either a piano or a guitar, so that we could build it in the room together and collaborate from the start. I haven't co-written on this past album, but I'm interested in it. I think that I'm interested to see if it's a help or a hindrance. I think some people are really good at co-writing. I have in the past struggled, but I'm open to the challenge of finding a way to do it. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, I can. Yeah, I can only imagine like the obstacles that would come up with having to co-write a song. But
Yeah.
again, we're back to I've never written a song, so I have no honest idea.
You should
Um,
try.
I should try, yeah. So
Yeah, why not?
as a listener of music, right? Like music, I've always connected with music in different ways. It was a safe space for me for a long time when I was a kid, and kind of growing up, it's been very therapeutic in ways. I guess as a songwriter, how does music tend to how do you find therapy in just songwriting?
Yeah, no, it's definitely I don't actually have a therapist, which nearly everyone I know finds really appalling. But I consider songwriting arrogantly, I consider songwriting to be a form of that. I definitely like if I feel like I need to explore, I don't know, something that's not been resolved. Pardon me. Morning. Yeah, no, it's 100% therapy. It's like I think in any art form, if you like, even if people that just journal, just getting stuff out of your head is helpful and
Hmm.
trying to form some kind of understanding from it. And often I've had it where I've heard a song like a few months later that I wrote and been like, oh, so that's what I meant, or that's what I was going through. So sometimes the song tells you what you're going through, which is kind of interesting.
Yeah. Are you a person who's got like this you have like a catalog of songs that just aren't out to people and you can kind of like reflect on
Yeah.
them and kind of work through those things?
Yeah. I've got loads of songs that no one's heard. Yeah, hundreds.
So I guess through, it seems like nowadays, especially for smaller artists, like you guys wear every hat imaginable in terms of, what you're supposed to do. Uh,
Yes.
and, obviously my existence is in social media. How do you find social media to be like something enjoyable for you, or is it like, man, I gotta wake up and the label wants me to post a TikTok kind of deal?
Mm. Yeah, it's definitely work. It's not some I if naturally as a person I wouldn't be on social media if I didn't have to be. I
Mm.
think I would be one of those
Yeah.
people that doesn't have it. Um, and I used to be quite down on it until it started working for me. So I think that if you can find a way to for it to work on your own terms as a business or as an artist, if you can find that balance where you don't feel like it's completely absorbing your life and also your kind of self-esteem, if you can find that, then
Mm.
I think it's an incredible tool. Like my manager said a great thing when I was sort of probably going on about how useless I thought it was. He was like, "Well, Rose, the thing is, it's become the open mic night. It's the thing. It's the way that people.
Yeah.
It's the only way they find you now. People don't go to open mic nights anymore. I mean, they do, but not as much as they did. So it's
Right.
it's that it's like, do you want to be a songwriter or not? Do you want people to find you or not? We have to just, in some way you have to make peace with that, especially at this stage. I'm not at Ed Sheeran's stage where I can just throw my phone away and my career
Uh,
sustains itself. I'm working towards that. And I
yeah.
will do that. If it ever happens, I will definitely do that.
Yeah. Yeah, it's funny. The self-esteem piece is huge because I feel like as an artist, maybe it's even a little more amplified because I mean, I go through it and I just, suggest other people's music, but like as an artist, like it's super personal to you and you
Yeah.
don't get, you can very easily go down a weird rabbit hole of not feeling very good about yourself, I feel like.
I know a lot of artists who have a really tough time with it. I feel like generally I'm kind of okay. I don't take it very seriously. Like
Yeah.
it's I've been very lucky as well. I haven't been on the receiving end of hate, and every now and then someone will criticize my eyeliner or have a problem with the lyric, or I don't know.
Right.
But it's very I think there are some artists um who perhaps challenge society in other ways, which I think is wonderful and what artists should do. But I think
Mhm.
sometimes they become the kind of they become a magnet for some of the people out there who treat social media as a bullying tactic or some kind of. So
Yeah.
I'm very lucky in that I haven't seen that dark side really. So I think in a way I'm not the best one to speak on it. But
Yeah.
I think, yeah, artists are sensitive. We're very sensitive, a lot of us, and social media is not a set place for sensitivity. And
Mm.
I know that a lot of people, I have a few artist friends who go in phases of like just canceling it and then coming back, and like it has to be this very
Yeah.
extreme thing.
Yeah. It's I guess too in terms of like I've gone through it. Yeah, the negative comments are the worst.
Yeah.
And it's so funny. You could like I know me personally, like I can get one bad one and like sometimes like absolutely focus on that, even though there's like 30 other good ones, and it's like
I know, I know.
you get on yourself about like why are you even doing, yeah, anyway.
Yeah,
And so
yeah.
how do you, you know, maybe ground yourself outside of everything that is required of being an artist? I know for me it's like I go spend like 4 or 5 days a year just in a place where I don't have cell
Love
service
that.
whatsoever. That's usually like my one break away from it. What do you do?
Love that. I did, yeah, I actually did that the other day. I took a train up to Santa Barbara and left my phone at home and just had a day without it. And it
Yeah.
was like the most blissful day ever. How do I do it? I think I have lots of other things. I try to be quite careful about what I share. I feel like it's very easy if, because, as you said, we wear a lot of hats. It's very easy to turn every second of your life into some kind of content. There are even moments where I'm talking about something about like something I do with a friend. They're like, "Oh, you should share that." And it's like, no, I'm keeping this for my like. They don't need that,
Right.
and it
This
like
one's
so.
for
I feel
me.
like you have to be quite selective. Like even stuff that is not necessarily inherent. Like I sew a lot. I make all pretty much all my clothes, and sometimes I share that. And
Amazing.
but I'm not always. I sometimes just like that. Oh, that's not something that's for them. Like obviously they might see that because I might be wearing it at some point, but like I do that, and there are a few things that are just I think you just have to be kind of selective and on it. And I mean, some people do it where they like do bulk content days and then they just
Mm.
schedule it all and then they can
Shut it
like,
down. Yeah,
yeah, I'm not quite as regimented as that, but yeah.
I feel that. Yeah, I feel that I'm not nearly as regimented in that space as I should be
Mm.
either. Yeah, and like the idea of like leaving your phone like and just going somewhere. Like I'm not sure exactly how old you are, but I, you know, growing up in the '90s before phones existed,
Yeah, that's me.
it takes me back to my childhood, and I feel like this feels okay again. Like it takes like a day to get used to it, and then I'm like, oh, you know, we're back in it, and yeah, so I do miss that from time to time for sure.
I feel like more full. I don't know how you feel. I feel like more complete without
mm,
it. I feel like I'm more
yeah, yeah,
present.
100%. So much more
Yeah.
present. Like I feel like I notice so many more things when I'm
Yes.
not thinking about it, and it's like,
Yeah.
this is what life used to feel like.
Yeah, I
Um,
know. So
so
sad.
it's really bad. Yeah, it really is. What do you find to be the most rewarding part about being an artist?
Oh, that's a nice question. The most rewarding. It's really lovely when I see people like taking the songs and like it belongs like where it doesn't know like I can see that it doesn't belong to me anymore. It belongs to them. I think that's
Mm.
a really wonderful thing. And something that I really experienced on tour when I was playing some songs and there were a couple of times where there were people singing along like really loudly and like harmonies and stuff like that. And for a moment I was like, Jesus, this is they can't hear me sing anymore. And like people have come and I was like, oh no, this isn't about you anymore. This is about them. And I thought
Yeah,
that was so lovely. I love that. Also, I love the feeling of like I really like it when I share a song and a family member loves it, or I hear that they've shown like someone's shown their children it, or I don't know. It's like the small things. It's like bizarre when you see someone's made a tattoo of your lyrics, or
mm,
that kind of is crazy. I think the rewarding side is when you've said something that feels really personal to you, and then someone's taken it on and it explains it said something that they haven't been able to articulate. That is like the goal, like the holy grail of songwriting is when you've been able to
yeah.
articulate something that someone else couldn't, and then they feel like they understand themselves more, they understand the world more, and it's like that is magical for me.
Yeah. Yeah, so twofold there for me. Like the sentiment I get amongst like a lot of people I talk to is that in terms of artists is like, yeah, once you release a song, like it was made for you, and then once you release it, it's like it's not for you anymore. It's out there for everybody to kind of interpret their own way.
Yeah,
And as someone who like struggled with, I don't know, saying what I felt and things like that, music has always been that, outlet, that guide, in terms of like how I'm feeling and like articulating it
yeah,
properly. Um, so yeah, so I can
exactly.
only, yeah, I can only imagine how, yeah, absolutely amazing that must feel as an artist. Because I get that sometimes, even when I just like suggest a song to somebody, they're like, "Oh, this became like my favorite song." I'm like, that's such a weird feeling for me, even though I have no part in it other than the middleman. Um, but yeah, it's I can only imagine how rewarding that must honestly feel.
Oh yeah. It also it kind of feels like the point of music. Like it in some ways it's it's easy for it to look like it's this kind of congratulatory world where you're kind of getting all this applause. I kind of feel like in essentials, songwriting is just a service. It's like being a nurse.
Yeah.
There's a human need for it that's very basic and very primal and very essential, and that is it. I think is that people have like a guide throughout their emotional life that can give them peace, or even if they're in love, like it's songs can enhance or like let you wallow. That their music. Yeah, I love music. I think it's so powerful, and yeah, and for those reasons, for the human reasons.
Yeah, yeah, feeling enhancer. Couldn't agree with
Yeah.
more. Yeah, 100%. So in terms of your catalog, what is like the song you've put out and you're just absolutely like the most proud of it? Maybe not your most popular, but just put it out and you feel
Oh, that's
so good
nice.
about it.
Oh, that's nice. Do you know what? I know I didn't actually write this song. Does it have to be a song that I wrote?
No, you're fine.
No.
Yeah.
The when I recorded Song to the Siren for the Justice League film, it kind of this whole thing came about, and it was like it was the middle of lockdown. I was in Scotland, and suddenly we were recording it, and like they'd chosen my version, and I had to drive down, and it was this thing of having to live up to the fact that this demo that I made like 6 months before I recorded the main version had all these very specific vocal things in it, and it was like all these different trills, and it was a very specific. It's that kind of thing where people say, "Can it be like the demo but better?" Which is like the same but better, which is a very confusing
Right.
thing to be asked for, and
Right.
and there was all this pressure of we had the studio for a day, and I had like 3 hours in the morning to record the lead and the piano, and then the orchestra were coming in and they were going to record the orchestral parts, and it was like a lot of pressure on just a lot of pressure on me, and I just felt like I managed to get away with it. And
Yeah.
because like morning is not the time to be singing ever, because your voice is like still waking up, so it's like I
Right.
just feel really proud of that, of the fact that I was able to um just make that happen, because it was quite a challenge, and it's quite hard when you're living up to someone else's some previous incarnation of a song, and I had to be so meticulous about the vocal,
Yeah.
and you're in this huge studio in the middle of London, and there's like 15 people in the studio listening to you do this like piano version, and yeah, the pressure was high, the stakes were high, and I managed to do it, so I'm really proud of myself for that, because
Yeah,
it was a big
absolutely.
moment for me.
Yeah, I mean, I can imagine that's like, I mean, that's a huge success, right? Like, I mean, in
Yeah,
terms of
I'm
like
happy with it.
pressure, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
And like when we can look back on things like that and like see it's like a life lesson and, a good celebration whenever we can kind of reflect on it. So
Yeah,
I get
exactly.
it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I live my life is in music curation. So my favorite question to ask is, put me on to a song or an artist that you've kind of been obsessed with recently.
Oh, love that. Oh, okay. As a musician, I don't consume all that much music actually, which is not, I don't know, that's not always the way it is with musicians. I find that often if I listen to a good song, it makes me want to write a good song, and if I listen to a bad song, it makes me want to write a better one. So it's like
Gotcha.
that's kind of what happens. I've been listening to there's a band out here called Truesdale who are like a
Yeah,
three singing
I
group.
know
I
them.
don't, do you
Yeah,
know them? Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
I've been listening to their new album. There are some really nice songs on that. Who else have I been listening to? A friend, a guy that I've known for ages out here. I didn't realize that he made music. I knew he made music, but I didn't know how good it was until really recently. So I've been listening to him. He's called Ali.
Okay. I think
His
like
music's fun.
Arlie.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think I know.
I
I that
I
sounds
can't
super
shock you.
familiar as
You know
well.
everything.
That sounds super familiar. No, you're
Oh,
fine.
funny.
I genuinely just love hearing what artists are kind of listening to because that's a very I feel like a different ear than what I would go for or somebody else would go for. So it's always fun to hear what everybody's kind of listening to. Um, so I guess kind of wrapping up. What about what's going on in the future here for you? What are you excited about? What's coming up for you?
I'm so excited to be writing more new things. We're going to put out a deluxe, so kind of gathering songs to bring to the label. I'm going to go to Nashville and do some co-writes, which I'm terrified about, but excited at the same time. So yeah, the new music's coming. I guess that's just continuing to celebrate the album, add some songs to
Yeah.
it, and then think about what's coming next. I'm excited about what that next step might be. yeah, that's kind of where I am.
Amazing. Well, again, I can't thank you enough for taking some time today, and I can't wait to hear the new stuff. And thanks again.
Thanks for having me.